Who is Ibrahim Traoré? The story behind Africa's youngest president. The story behind Africa's youngest president. Have you ever wondered how a young military officer, barely known outside his country, became one of the most talked about leaders in Africa? At just 34 years old, Ibrahim Traoré became the leader of Burkina Faso, making him Africa's youngest head of state at the time. To many people, he represents hope, independence, and a new vision for Africa. Others, his rise through a military coup raises difficult questions about democracy, human rights, and political stability. His speeches are shared by millions online. His supporters compare him to the revolutionary leader Thomas Sankara. His critics argue that strong words must be matched by real results. So who is Ibrahim Traoré? What shaped him? Why has he become such an influential and controversial figure across Africa? This is the story of Ibrahim Traoré. Ibrahim Traoré was born on March 14, 1988, in the town of Bondakai, located in western Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso is a landlocked nation in West Africa, known for its rich traditions, resilient people, and long history of overcoming hardship. Like many young people in the country, Traoré grew up in modest circumstances. Those who knew him described him as quiet, disciplined, and focused on his studies. After completing his early education, he enrolled at the University of Ouagadougou, where he studied geology. At that point, there was little to suggest that he would one day become the leader of an entire nation. Instead of pursuing a career in the mining industry, Traoré chose military service. He joined the Burkinab Armed Forces and quickly built a reputation as a capable officer. During his military career, he served in peacekeeping operations under the United Nations, gaining valuable experience and leadership skills. But while Traoré was serving in uniform, his country was facing one of the greatest crises in its modern history. Beginning around 2015, Burkina Faso experienced a dramatic increase in attacks by armed extremist groups linked to regional insurgencies. Communities were attacked, schools closed, thousands of civilians lost their lives, and millions were forced to flee their homes. Entire regions became increasingly difficult for government forces to control. The growing violence created frustration throughout the country. Citizens demanded better security. Soldiers on the front lines often complained about shortages of equipment and support. Confidence in political leadership continued to decline. In January 2022, that frustration resulted in a military coup that removed President Roch-Marc Christian Kabore from office. Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba became the country's transitional leader, promising to restore security and defeat the insurgency. However, within months, many military officers believed progress was too slow. Attacks continued, and public confidence remained low. On September 30, 2022, Captain Ibrahim Traoré led another military takeover. Damiba was removed from power, and Traoré became Burkina Faso's transitional president. At just 34 years old, he became Africa's youngest head of state. His rise attracted immediate international attention. Some governments strongly criticized the coup, arguing that democratic processes should always be respected. Others focused on whether the new leadership could succeed, where previous governments had struggled. For Traoré, the priority was clear. Security came first. After taking office, he promised to reclaim territory controlled by armed groups and strengthen Burkina Faso's military capabilities. His administration increased military recruitment and expanded programs encouraging civilian volunteers to assist national defense efforts. At the same time, Traoré emphasized the importance of national sovereignty. He argued that Burkina Faso should reduce its dependence on foreign powers and make decisions based on its own interests. One of the most significant changes during his leadership was the country's shift in international partnerships. Burkina Faso reduced military cooperation with France, its former colonial power. French military forces eventually departed the country, marking a major change in relations. Meanwhile, the government strengthened cooperation with new international partners, including Russia. This shift attracted worldwide attention and sparked debates about changing geopolitical alliances in Africa. Supporters viewed these decisions as symbols of independence. Critics questioned whether changing partners alone would solve the country's security and economic challenges. Beyond security, Traoré has repeatedly spoken about economic self-reliance. He has encouraged local agricultural production, industrial development, and greater investment in domestic resources. His speeches often focus on African unity, economic independence, and reducing reliance on foreign assistance. These messages have resonated with many young Africans. Across social media, videos of his speeches have been viewed millions of times. His direct speaking style and emphasis on African sovereignty have made him one of the continent's most recognizable political figures. Many supporters see him as continuing the legacy of Thomas Sankara, Burkina Faso's revolutionary leader during the 1980s, who became famous for promoting self-sufficiency, anti-corruption efforts, and national pride. However, comparisons between the two leaders remain a matter of public opinion rather than historical consensus. While Traoré has gained significant popularity, his presidency remains the subject of considerable debate. Supporters argue that he inherited an extremely difficult situation and has demonstrated determination in confronting terrorism while defending national sovereignty. Critics point to continuing security challenges and express concerns about restrictions affecting political opposition, journalists, and civil society. Human rights organizations have also raised concerns regarding freedom of expression during the transitional period. The security situation itself remains complex. Although government forces have reported successes in certain areas, extremist violence continues to affect many parts of Burkina Faso. The humanitarian impact of the conflict remains significant. As a result, opinions about Ibrahim Traoré differ sharply depending on who is asked. For some, he represents courage and a break from the past. For others, lasting peace and democratic governance remain the ultimate tests of leadership. Today, Ibrahim Traoré stands at the center of one of Africa's most closely watched political transitions. His decisions will shape not only Burkina Faso's future, but may also influence broader conversations across the continent about security, sovereignty, development, and the role of military governments. Whether history ultimately remembers him as a transformative leader or a controversial figure will depend on what happens in the years ahead. For now, one thing is certain. Ibrahim Traoré has become one of the most influential and widely discussed leaders of his generation. His story is still being written, and the world continues to watch.